Have you ever had a conversation with someone and realized that what they say doesn't match what they express? They say, "I'm fine," but their eyes reveal confusion, their hands clench unconsciously, and their voice carries a hint of hesitation. Moments like these make you wonder, am I truly understanding them or just seeing what they want me to believe? And if words don't tell the truth, how can you uncover a person's real thoughts? In today's video, we'll explore 9 powerful principles rooted in Stoic philosophy to understand people more deeply. These are not just communication tools, but keys to seeing the world and yourself more clearly. Are you ready to delve deeper into the minds of others and your own? If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. It means a lot to us. Thank you for your support. Now let's dive in. Principle 1, one question, countless doors. Imagine you're in an important meeting. A colleague stands up to present their idea, but their tone is somewhat hesitant. Their words are fragmented, and their eyes scan the room as if seeking approval. Instead of interrupting or challenging them, you gently say, "Could you elaborate on that?" To your surprise, they begin to share. At first, it's just surface-level details about their idea, but then deeper stories emerge. They talk about the challenges of developing the idea, the pressure from management, and even their fear that their initiative might not be recognized. At that moment, the meeting transforms into something more, a genuine connection between people. That simple question, "Could you elaborate?" carries a remarkable power. It doesn't just help you understand the idea more clearly, it reveals emotions, insecurities, and the deeper motivations of the other person. What's notable is that this question isn't judgmental or imposing. Instead, it's like a gentle invitation for someone to be themselves. When you ask, "Why is this important to you?" you're not merely seeking an answer, but inviting a piece of their untold story. The strength of this technique lies not only in uncovering more about others, but also in dismantling invisible barriers in communication. In life, people often keep their distance, especially when they fear being judged. But a sincere question like, "Could you elaborate on that?" sends a message. I want to understand you, not judge you. The defensive walls gradually come down, replaced by openness. This goes beyond communication. It's about empathy. When someone feels heard without being interrupted, they begin to trust you. The connection between you deepens. In many cases, the other person doesn't even need advice or solutions. They just want to feel that they are being listened to. Through this, you gain not only an understanding of the idea, but also of the person behind it. Stoic philosophy emphasizes that listening is a lesson in humility. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." When you truly listen, you momentarily set aside your ego, the ego that wants to argue, share opinions, or prove it's right. You place yourself in the present moment, focused entirely on the other person. This doesn't just allow you to see them more clearly, it also helps you understand yourself better. To apply this technique, start by incorporating open-ended questions into everyday conversations. Instead of asking closed questions that prompt a simple yes or no, try saying, "Can you explain that a bit more?" Or, "What does this mean to you?" Don't forget to observe the alignment between their words and emotions. Someone might say they're fine, but their downward gaze and trembling voice might reveal otherwise. Avoid interrupting or immediately offering feedback. When you silently listen, you demonstrate respect and create a safe space for the other person to share more. Silence isn't indifference, it's the highest form of attention. The question, "Could you elaborate?" may seem simple, but it has the power to transform how you communicate. It helps you not only understand others, but also develop into someone who listens, empathizes, and remains calm in all situations. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, being the one who listens will set you apart. Principle 2. Small actions, big truths. Imagine you're having dinner with a friend. He always prides himself on being honest and kind to everyone. In conversations, he often shares inspiring stories about keeping promises and doing the right thing. But when the server brings the food out a little late, his demeanor changes instantly. His tone becomes curt, his eyes flash with annoyance, and he doesn't even bother to say thank you. That moment makes you pause and wonder, do his words truly reflect who he is? This isn't the first time you've encountered such a situation. In life, we often meet people who speak eloquently, but whose actions tell a completely different story. It's these small, unguarded moments, when no one is watching or when they're caught off guard, that act as a mirror reflecting their true nature. Actions are more trustworthy than words. Words can be carefully rehearsed, polished to create an impression, or tailored to achieve a goal. But actions, especially unconscious ones in unexpected situations, often stem from instinct and true values. Think of someone who claims to be kind but cuts in line to gain an advantage, or someone who says they value honesty but conceals their mistakes. These actions reveal more than any words they could ever say. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "What we do speaks about who we are, not what we say." This explains why the way someone behaves in everyday moments, when there's no spotlight or social pressure, is the clearest test of their true values. Pay attention to how people treat those they consider unimportant, like servers, cab drivers, or subordinates. A genuinely kind person will still show respect and courtesy, even when they have nothing to gain in return. On the other hand, those who are rude or dismissive often reveal their selfishness, no matter how eloquent their words might be. Small reactions in unexpected situations are also significant indicators. A cold glance, defensive body language like crossed arms, or a lack of patience are unconscious signals people give off when they can't control their image. These gestures provide clear evidence of their true intentions, regardless of what they say. Stoic philosophy emphasizes that to understand a person, you must look beyond their words and focus on their actions. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself, "Observe the world objectively, without letting personal emotions cloud the truth." This applies not only to understanding others, but also to cultivating your ability to perceive life clearly and wisely. So, how can you uncover a person's true intentions through their actions? First, observe how they treat people they don't need to impress, such as servers or those in weaker positions. A genuinely kind person's behavior won't change based on someone else's status. Next, look for consistency between their words and actions. If they say they value honesty, notice whether they actually keep their promises or take responsibility for their mistakes. Finally, pay attention to their small reactions in unexpected situations. Someone may claim to be calm, but when faced with an irritating situation, do they truly remain composed? Actions never lie. The small habits in daily life, the unconscious reactions when no one is watching, reveal a person's true values. Observing others' actions not only helps you understand them better, but also sharpens your ability to evaluate people objectively, free from bias or assumptions. More importantly, ask yourself, do my actions truly reflect the values I believe in? Am I living according to my principles, even when no one is watching? Marcus Aurelius once reminded us, don't try to impress others. Live true to your nature. Right actions will speak for themselves. Observe the actions of others, but also reflect on your own. In every moment, ensure that you're not only living authentically, but also striving to be the best version of yourself, whether in the light or in the shadows. Principle 3. The secret behind every behavior. Have you ever met someone who reacts harshly to feedback, even when it's offered with good intentions. I have a friend like that. Just a simple comment like, maybe you could try a different approach, and he immediately becomes defensive and angry. At first, I thought he was short-tempered and unwilling to listen, but during a deeper conversation, he shared that his childhood was marked by harsh criticism from his parents. No matter how well he performed, they would demand more. Those words were repeated so often that he came to associate any remark as criticism, triggering an instinctive need to defend himself. That moment helped me realize something important. Every behavior we witness has a deeper cause, often rooted in experiences, wounds, or values accumulated over time. Behavior never appears randomly. Someone reserved in relationships might have been betrayed before. Someone who tries to control everything may have once felt utterly powerless. And often, it's these painful experiences that shape how they respond to the world around them. What you see is often just the tip of the iceberg. If you stop there, you might label them as difficult, selfish, or unapproachable. But if you take the time to look deeper, you'll uncover a complex and at times painful story. This is why understanding the why behind behavior is so important. It not only helps you avoid superficial judgments, but also creates opportunities to build relationships founded on empathy and understanding. In Stoic philosophy, Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Understand what drives a person, and you will understand who they are." This reminds us that instead of focusing solely on surface behavior, we should strive to understand the motivations and circumstances behind it. This doesn't mean you have to agree with or condone every action, but it allows you to approach them with objectivity and calmness. Ask yourself, what might have led to their behavior? What are they trying to protect? Could their actions stem from fear, pain, or a value they struggle to express? Asking such questions helps you avoid snap judgments while creating space for others to feel heard and understood. Understanding the deeper cause is also key to building lasting relationships. When you take the time to dig deeper, you not only learn more about someone, but also build trust. A relationship can't thrive on surface-level interactions alone. It's the hidden values, struggles, and even the pain a person carries that truly define who they are. However, understanding the why isn't just about observing others. It's also a crucial lesson in managing your own emotions. When you recognize that negative reactions often stem from fear or pain, you're less likely to take hurtful words or actions personally. This awareness allows you to respond more thoughtfully because your emotions aren't controlled by things you don't fully understand. Try applying this by asking the right questions. When you encounter confusing behavior, instead of reacting immediately, ask yourself, what are they trying to protect? What in their past might have led to this? At the same time, practice patient observation and active listening. Truly understanding someone doesn't happen in a single moment. It takes time and openness. Sometimes, simply giving someone the opportunity to share can reveal surprising depths about what they carry inside. Most importantly, resist the urge to label. Calling someone hot-headed, cold, or controlling without understanding their story is not only unfair, but can damage your relationship with them. Curiosity and compassion allow you to uncover the true depth of a person. Ultimately, the greatest lesson in uncovering the reasons behind behavior isn't just about understanding others. It's about understanding yourself. Marcus Aurelius once reminded us, "When you understand the motive, you will no longer be disturbed by another's behavior. Instead, you will act with calmness and wisdom." Looking into the why not only helps you build better relationships, but also strengthens your composure and insight in dealing with the world around you. Principle 4. Hear what they don't say. Imagine you're in a team meeting. A colleague confidently declares, "I'm fully prepared to complete the project on time." The statement sounds convincing, but when you ask a few follow-up questions like, What's your timeline? Or, are you facing any challenges? His voice slows down. There's a barely noticeable pause, but in that moment, the certainty in his tone seems to fade. He starts repeating points and hesitating before answering the next question. This makes you realize that his confident words don't fully reflect reality. Finally, when you gently ask, "Do you need any additional support from the team?" he admits to struggling with time management and needing help. This small moment clearly demonstrates the power of listening to tone. Words may seem flawless, but tone is often where true emotions hide. Subtle shifts in tone, a slower pace, a prolonged pause, or an uncontrollable tremor can reveal what someone is really thinking or feeling. In many cases, tone betrays the words. A person's voice is a mirror reflecting their inner emotions. When someone feels anxious, stressed, or uncertain, these feelings naturally surface in the way they speak. A hesitant tone might indicate a lack of confidence or doubt. A sudden drop in volume could suggest they're trying to avoid the truth. Speaking unusually fast might signal an effort to gloss over a sensitive topic. Interestingly, even when someone tries to hide their emotions, these tonal shifts still occur because tone is a natural reaction and much harder to control than words. This disconnect between tone and words is often most apparent when they don't align. For instance, someone might say, "I'm fine," but their tone is low and drawn out, accompanied by a sigh they may not even realize they've made. Or someone might smile and say, "Everything's great," but their smile doesn't reach their eyes, and the awkwardness in their tone suggests otherwise. Moments like these remind us that to truly understand someone, you can't rely solely on their words. Instead, listen to how they speak, how they breathe, and even the silences they leave behind. Stoic philosophy teaches that observation is not for judgment, but for understanding. Epictetus once said, "We cannot control the actions of others, but we can control how we observe and understand them." When you listen to tone with a calm and open mind, you'll uncover things that words alone cannot reveal. However, this doesn't mean you should use these observations to criticize or dominate someone. Instead, it's an opportunity to approach them with greater sensitivity and empathy, making them feel safe to share honestly. If you notice someone's tone shifting unexpectedly, don't rush to conclusions. Ask open-ended questions like, "Are you sure about that?" Or, "Is there something that's worrying you?" These questions not only help you gain a clearer understanding, but also give the other person a chance to explain themselves without feeling pressured. At the same time, pay attention to their body language. If their tone is hesitant and their eyes avoid yours or their hands fidget, these are additional clues that they might be hiding something or feeling uneasy. Listening to tone doesn't just help you understand others better, it also helps you build relationships based on empathy and deeper understanding. A person can hide their feelings behind words, but they can't fully control how their tone reflects their inner state. When you learn to listen, not just with your ears but with careful observation, you'll gain a clearer picture of the emotions they're carrying. Most importantly, recognizing insecurity or anxiety through tone isn't about interrogating or exploiting someone's vulnerability. It's an opportunity to connect with them on a deeper level. Marcus Aurelius once taught, "By understanding others, you will reduce your expectations, lessen your judgments, and live more peacefully." Observing others with calmness, patience, and objectivity allows you to not only understand them better, but also become a more thoughtful and perceptive communicator. Principle 5. When no one is watching, the truth speaks. Imagine you have a friend who frequently emphasizes how much he values honesty and kindness. At gatherings, he shares his beliefs about living with integrity, treating others fairly, and supporting one another. His words make you admire him as someone of great character. But then, during a dinner outing, You notice something that doesn't quite align. He avoids making eye contact with the server while ordering, speaks impatiently, and doesn't bother to say thank you when his meal arrives. To him, these may seem like insignificant, unconscious behaviors. Yet to you, this small moment raises a big question. Do the values he speaks of truly reflect who he is? Or are they just a crafted image meant to impress others? These small actions, especially in moments when people believe no one is watching, often serve as the most honest reflection of their true nature. When there's no audience, people no longer feel the pressure to maintain an image, and their natural behavior shines through. A genuinely kind person will show courtesy consistently, regardless of who they're interacting with or whether anyone is observing. Conversely, someone who projects a virtuous image but treats those without influence poorly reveals their true character. The way a person behaves when no one is looking is not just a measure of their character, but also a window into the values they truly prioritize. You can see this clearly in everyday situations. For example, a colleague who always promises to work hard but regularly slacks off when unsupervised. Or a friend who speaks about kindness yet ignores those in need or can't reciprocate their kindness. These small behaviors often say more about someone than lengthy speeches ever could. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Don't measure yourself by what you do when people are watching. Look at what you do when no one is paying attention." This philosophy encourages us not only to observe others, but also to reflect on ourselves. What you do in the dark, when no one is looking, truly reflects your values. That is when you act without the need for recognition or applause, choosing to do the right thing purely out of personal integrity. These unguarded moments matter more than you might think. It's easy for someone to craft a positive image in front of a crowd because they know all eyes are on them. But in the mundane situations of life, when no one cares and there's no social pressure, people reveal who they really are. For instance, a friend who praises kindness yet snaps at a server, or a co-worker who appears diligent but quickly shifts tasks onto others when unobserved. These actions don't just show inconsistency, they reveal what truly matters, or doesn't, to that person. Stoic philosophy emphasizes that virtue doesn't need an audience. Stoics believe that good and righteous actions require no witnesses, no applause, and no acknowledgement. Epictetus once said, "The essence of virtue is to do what is right, even when no one is watching." This principle applies not only to observing others, but also to living an upright life. When you choose to do the right thing, not because someone is watching, but because you've made a commitment to yourself, that is true virtue. To understand someone's true nature through their behavior in unobserved moments, focus on how they act in everyday situations. How do they treat people who offer them no benefit, like servers, drivers, or those of lower social standing? Do they hold the door open for someone behind them, or do they ignore it, thinking no one will notice? Look for consistency between their words and actions. If someone claims to value honesty, observe whether they keep their promises or take responsibility for their mistakes. Don't just focus on grand gestures. The truth often lies in the smallest details. But this lesson isn't just about evaluating others, it's also an important reminder for yourself. Ask yourself, do I do the right thing when no one is watching? Do my quiet actions reflect the values I believe in? Living with integrity without an audience brings a sense of pride and inner peace that no external validation can provide. Marcus Aurelius emphasized, "Virtue needs no applause and no recognition, it only needs to exist." Learn to assess others through their silent actions, but more importantly, strive to live as someone who can take pride in what they do, even when no one is watching. Ultimately, true values aren't found in the spotlight, but in the quiet moments of authenticity. Principle 6. Emotional reactions reveal values. Imagine you're working with a colleague known for being calm and composed, even in the most stressful situations. However, during a meeting, when a project he's leading is criticized, he unexpectedly loses his temper. His tone turns sharp, almost angry, completely out of character for him. At first you're puzzled, but later in a private conversation, he confides that this project isn't just work for him. It's his passion project, one he's poured his heart and soul into. To him, the criticism felt like a rejection of his effort, personal values, and what he holds most dear. Such intense emotional reactions don't arise randomly. They are subtle yet powerful signals that reveal a person's core values or deep insecurities. When someone gets angry, anxious, or even breaks down in tears, it often stems from something they're trying to protect or something they deeply cherish. For example, someone who becomes frustrated by delays might deeply value their time. A person who feels immense joy at receiving praise may be craving recognition they've long yearned for. Emotions are the most honest windows into the soul, where words often fail to fully express what lies within. Not everyone finds it easy to articulate what they truly value. Rarely do people openly admit that they need trust, recognition, or validation. But their emotions, especially strong reactions, speak on their behalf. A person who cries when they're not trusted shows how essential trust is to them. Someone who gets angry at mild criticism may have had their sense of self-worth or pride wounded. Understanding the root cause of these emotions not only helps you approach them with empathy, but also opens the door to deeper and more meaningful relationships. The Stoics have long taught that emotions are signals, not absolute truths. Epictetus once said, "Every emotional reaction is a clue. Learn to observe without being swept away by it." This doesn't mean ignoring someone's feelings, but rather viewing them as valuable data to analyze. Marcus Aurelius emphasized, "Observe emotions not to criticize, but to uncover what drives them." For the Stoics, emotions aren't something to react to impulsively. They are an opportunity to understand the motivations and values of others on a deeper level. To do this, you must pay close attention to the strong emotional reactions of others. Each time someone responds unusually intensely, ask yourself, what does this mean to them? What are they trying to protect? Or what insecurity are they hiding? For instance, a usually laid-back friend may suddenly get upset when you cancel plans. This could indicate that spending quality time together is a value they hold dear. Recognizing this, instead of reacting to their surface-level frustration, you can respond thoughtfully by asking questions like, "This seems really important to you. Can you tell me more?" Or, "Is there something specific about this situation that's making you feel uneasy?" These open-ended questions show respect while creating space for honest sharing. At the same time, you need to connect with your own emotions. Sometimes, feeling uncomfortable with someone else's reaction is a signal that your own values are being challenged. Ask yourself, am I reacting to their emotions or to the sense that my own values are being threatened? Understanding your own emotional responses helps you stay calm and communicate more effectively. Emotional reactions, whether joy, anger, or sadness, carry a profound story about the core values each person holds. If you're perceptive enough to observe and listen, you'll gain insight not just into their surface-level behavior, but into the deeper truths they might not easily express. The Stoics believed that understanding others' emotions not only improves communication, but also cultivates inner peace and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The wise know that emotions are tools for understanding people, not traps to fall into." Learn to listen to emotions, for within them lies the truth and the key to building stronger, more genuine relationships. Principle 7. Eyes don't lie. Imagine you're talking to a friend about a project they're responsible for. They confidently say, "Everything is fine," and force a smile, but their eyes avoid yours, unable to meet your gaze. A fleeting moment of unease crosses their face, just enough for you to sense that something isn't right, even though they haven't said anything. Later, you discover the project is struggling, and they were too afraid to admit it. This moment reveals a truth. Eyes often convey more than words can hide. If you're perceptive enough to notice, you can uncover truths that others try to conceal. Eyes are the windows to the soul, and their unique trait is their inability to mask true emotions. When someone feels stressed, anxious, or excited, their eyes naturally reflect these emotions, often without the need for words. For example, when someone repeatedly avoids eye contact, it's often a sign of anxiety or fear of being exposed. An employee presenting a report but avoiding direct eye contact, with their gaze darting around, might be feeling insecure about the data or results they're sharing. Conversely, eyes that light up with dilated pupils often indicate genuine interest, excitement, or passion. If you're sharing an idea during a meeting and notice someone's eyes focused on you with wide, engaged pupils, it's a clear sign they're truly interested in what you're saying. However, sometimes eyes can send mixed signals. A gaze that's too intense or overly focused may not signify sincerity, but could instead be a way to mask insecurity or exert control. This is often seen in debates or when someone tries to dominate a situation by making the other person uncomfortable with excessive eye contact. That said, interpreting eyes requires context. Avoided eye contact isn't always a sign of dishonesty. It might simply indicate shyness or nervousness. Pupil dilation might not always signify emotion. It could just be a reaction to changes in lighting. Reading someone's eyes demands nuance and consideration of the overall context, their tone of voice, body language, and the situation at hand. It's important not to jump to conclusions based on a single cue. Stoic philosophy reminds us, see things as they are without being clouded by emotion or bias. While eyes can reveal many truths, seeing those truths requires the observer's mind to remain calm and objective. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Don't be deceived by the surface. Look deeper, and you'll see the essence." Stoics don't seek to understand others to control them, but to act rightly. Observing someone's eyes with a still and open mind not only helps you grasp their emotions and thoughts, but also prevents you from falling into false judgments or negative reactions. To read emotions through the eyes, you need to train yourself to listen with your eyes, not just your ears. If you notice someone avoiding your gaze, try asking open-ended questions like, "Is something worrying you?" or "How do you feel about this?" These questions can help clarify the situation while creating a safe space for them to share honestly. If you notice an unusually intense stare, consider shifting the topic or gently encouraging a more relaxed atmosphere. Interpreting eyes also requires understanding the context. A fleeting look of anxiety during an important meeting might simply reflect work-related pressure, not dishonesty. Avoid letting snap judgments obscure your ability to empathize. Instead, focus on the full picture. Tone of voice, facial expressions, hand gestures, every element contributes to the complete story. Eyes are indeed mirrors of true emotions, but understanding them requires careful and sensitive observation. The most important lesson is not to judge. When you remain objective and approach others with curiosity rather than labels, you'll go beyond surface-level understanding to connect with their deeper emotions. As Marcus Aurelius taught, observe to understand, not to judge. Mastering this approach will not only improve your communication, but also help you build relationships founded on respect and empathy. Principle 8. The body speaks when words are silent. Imagine during an interview, a candidate confidently states they are the perfect fit for the position, yet throughout the conversation they repeatedly rub their hands, fidget their feet under the table, and frequently avoid eye contact when answering questions. These small but consistent behaviors tell a different story from their words. Perhaps they aren't as confident as they claim, or maybe they're feeling significant pressure during the interview. These unconscious expressions form part of body language, a silent yet powerful form of communication that often reveals more than spoken words. Body language is like an unconscious mirror, reflecting a person's true thoughts and emotions. It's a form of communication we often overlook, yet it is more truthful than words. Rubbing hands, cracking knuckles, or tapping fingers are common signs of anxiety, nervousness, or impatience. When someone leans forward during a conversation, it suggests genuine interest and engagement. Conversely, leaning back with a wandering gaze can signal discomfort or a lack of interest in continuing the discussion. Even breathing patterns are revealing. A person who breathes unusually quickly or deeply might be under stress or trying to mask their unease. However, it's important not to draw conclusions based on a single gesture. For example, someone crossing their arms isn't necessarily defensive. They might simply be cold. Interpreting body language requires careful observation and consideration of the overall context. The combination of posture, eye contact, tone of voice, and the situation provides a fuller understanding of the message being conveyed. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Every small action reflects a greater truth." Stoic philosophy emphasizes that observing others isn't about judging them, but understanding them. Often, unconscious gestures arise from anxiety, tension, or inner conflicts that a person may not have the courage to admit. Observing without judgment helps you avoid false assumptions and maintain calmness in your interactions. To understand body language, you need to train yourself to observe carefully and always consider the context. Instead of focusing on a single behavior, look for patterns and connections between multiple signals, eye movement, posture, tone of voice, and pacing of speech. When you notice inconsistencies between what someone says and how they act, ask open-ended questions to encourage them to share more. For example, "I sense you might be feeling a bit nervous. Would you like to elaborate on that?" These gentle questions not only validate your observations, but also create a safe space for them to open up. Your own body language also plays a crucial role in communication. An open posture, steady eye contact, and leaning slightly forward can foster trust and encourage connection. On the other hand, unconscious gestures like crossing your arms, avoiding eye contact, or tapping your foot can make others feel disconnected or even disrespected. Body language is how the body tells the truth, even when words try to hide it. However, to interpret it correctly and avoid misjudging, you must keep your mind objective and composed. Observing body language not only helps you understand others better, but also serves as a mirror to reflect on yourself. Are you using your body to align with the values you believe in? Ask yourself, do my unconscious actions reflect the person I strive to be? For the Stoics, observing body language is not just a tool for understanding, it's an exercise in calmness and insight. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "Virtue lies in the smallest of actions." What you do when no one is watching, how you listen through gestures, and how you respond to someone's silence are where you'll uncover truths, not just about others, but also about yourself. Principle 9. Calmness brings clarity. Imagine a familiar scenario. During a meeting, you're preoccupied with crafting a rebuttal to a colleague's point of view. Your mind races with strategies to defend your position. In that moment, you fail to notice their hesitant gaze and uncertain body language, clear signs that they're not entirely confident in their argument. Had your mind been calmer, you might have recognized these cues and responded gently with constructive feedback. Instead, you hurriedly counter with a sharp critique, unintentionally escalating an unnecessary confrontation. This illustrates how a mind distracted by emotions or personal thoughts can cloud your ability to observe and understand others. When your mind is consumed by worry, tension, or judgment, everything you perceive becomes distorted by bias. It's like looking through a fogged-up lens. Instead of seeing things as they truly are, you only see a warped version created by your own thoughts. In contrast, a calm mind enables you to view situations objectively, free from emotional or subjective interference. The benefit of maintaining mental calmness lies not only in deeper observation, but also in responding with greater tact and intelligence. When you're not swept up by emotions, you can notice subtle yet critical cues, like avoiding eye contact, a trembling voice, or an unusual pause, that reveal someone's true mood, intentions, or feelings. For instance, if someone criticizes you harshly, your immediate reaction might be hurt or anger. But with a calm mind, you can pause and ask yourself, is there truth in this criticism? What is their purpose in saying this? This approach helps you maintain composure and respond thoughtfully, potentially strengthening the relationship rather than creating further tension. The Stoics recognized the power of calmness in understanding the world. Seneca wrote, "Only in stillness does one see clearly." Stillness is not merely the absence of noise, but a state of mind free from the turbulence of negative emotions or chaotic thoughts. Epictetus emphasized, "What troubles people is not the event itself, but their perception of it." A tranquil mind allows you to perceive events as they are, unclouded by emotion or bias. To cultivate a calm mind for clearer observation, practice mindfulness and daily awareness. A simple exercise like focusing on your breath for 5 to 10 minutes can help manage constant mental chatter and restore clarity. In conversations, develop the habit of pausing before reacting. A brief moment of silence not only helps you regulate your emotions, but also provides time for thoughtful consideration. Focus on the present, setting aside thoughts of the past or future, and remind yourself, I need to pay attention to what's happening right now. When you notice discrepancies between someone's words and actions, resist the urge to jump to conclusions. Instead, ask gentle, open-ended questions to understand better, such as, "You seem a bit uneasy. Can you share what's on your mind?" These kinds of inquiries not only validate your observations, but also create a safe space for others to open up. Remember, calmness isn't passivity. It's the deliberate act of creating space between yourself and your emotions. In that space, you can observe and analyze without being swept away by emotional chaos. A calm mind not only enhances your ability to understand others, but also provides a mirror to reflect on yourself. Are you reacting out of emotion, or are you acting with reason? Are you truly listening, or just waiting for your turn to speak? Stoic philosophy teaches that calmness is the gateway to truth. In that clarity, you not only see the world more accurately, but also discover your own inner peace and wisdom. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The wise understand that calmness is not silence, but clarity." When your mind is still, you not only observe the world, but also understand yourself, in the truest and most profound way. Each of us is an open book, with every action and gesture telling a story. But the key isn't whether others are writing their story correctly. It's whether you have the calmness and clarity to read it. When you apply these principles, not only will others become clearer to you, but you'll also gain a deeper understanding of yourself. Finally, remember, understanding others is a skill, but understanding yourself is an art. Thank you for joining me on this fascinating journey of discovery. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave your thoughts in the comments, and share it to spread these values to more people. See you in the next video. Continue observing, listening, and living wisely, like a true Stoic.